That's not what I said.
So did Muhammad actually be in the same place as God? Yes or no?
Pass. So can you please repeat what I said? Because you're straw manning. I'm not sure if you're straw manning on purpose or just because you can't understand.
Yeah.
And if you want me to break things down for you and dumb it down, just let me know. But just 1 second, I want you to repeat what I said. Repeat it.
No, I'm not going to repeat the exact same question. But what you're saying is you're not a Neoplatonist. God is above all of creation, but it's not a box like you're saying. But what I'm trying
you're not repeating what I said.
I need to understand you because your theology seems to fall short over and over.
All right.
Can God at all enter into a created place? Now, what you're trying to say is that he's over all of creation, but is God in any way in a place that is created? Yes or no? And it's just a yes or no question.
Thank you very much. Again, you have to understand our metaphysics. Please, can you define place for me?
Yeah, a place is a space that exists, and if God is in that place that exists, and if it's a created place, that means God can enter into that place. So instead of getting all metaphorically and jumping around,
are you going to give me the mic? All right.
Instead of jumping around the bush, if you're telling me that Muhammad entered into the seventh heaven where God was, and he had a communication with God, I'm assuming that what you're saying is that God entered into a space or a place that is created.
Right.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yeah, it's a no, because again, David Lynn, we don't think places are created because places are abstract notions that exist in the mind. That's why I asked you if you take an Aristotelian notion of space or a Platonic notion of space. So please answer, and if you don't know, you could simply say, I don't know. I know you're embarrassed in front of the crowd to say you don't know, but please tell me, do you take an Aristotelian notion of space or a Platonic notion of space? Which one is it, please? I want you to answer directly.
No, I'm not going to answer directly. You know what I am going to say is, what you just said is that you believe place is a thing of the mind. So what that means is that God can enter into the place of creation because it's a thing of the mind. I don't know what you mean because I think you're confused. Listen, we're not playing Aristotle. We're not talking Aristotle or Socrates.
Well, you're asking a metaphysical question, right?
We're dealing with, listen to me instead of interrupting me, is that we're dealing with a place that God entered. You're saying
are you taking an Aristotelian notion or a Platonic notion?
Listen,
you have to answer the question.
What I'm going to do in this discussion is I'm going to ask you a question. You can answer. If you want to ask me a question, I can answer.
You haven't answered yet.
Not to.
You haven't answered.
So what I told you, I'm not going to answer that question about Aristotle because I'm not here to talk philosophy.
But you asked about the notion of place.
And the Bible.
If you don't want to talk philosophy,
see what you're doing
right
now is the same thing you did last time. Talk over me, dance around bushes.
There's levels to this, and you're just not there.
Listen, sir.
Yeah.
Listen, unorthodox. Either God entered into a place with a human being, or he didn't. If you're saying he didn't, and places are just a thought of the mind, that means when Jesus Christ incarnated, it was just a thought in the mind, and it doesn't matter because places are not created. So if the place of the earth is not created, that means God can easily enter into creation, which he did through Jesus Christ, who is the Son of God, and he came to die for you, sir.
Nice.
That's all I'm saying.
Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So again, you keep flip-flopping because you don't know how to answer my question. Either you're completely ignorant when it comes to the notion of place, or you are on purpose misrepresenting my position. So you said you don't want to talk philosophy, but your question is a metaphysical question, and it requires that the semantics must be explained and disambiguated. So please tell me, when you say, is there a place that God enters to? I think that question is nonsensical. It doesn't actually have any meaning. Why? Because for us, place... Stop.
Go ahead.
For us, a place is a relation. It is not something that's flying that God created. There's nothing called space, a box floating in the air. Rather, space is a spatial relation between two concrete objects.
Place and space is
and when I asked, by the way, when I asked you to define place, you gave me you just said space. That's a synonym. That's not a definition. So do you have an exhaustive definition of place, or are you going to keep yapping and not answering the question? So I'm just going to land here. I'm landing, please. I'm going to land here. So just to answer your question and dumb it down for you, because you're a layman and you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? God essentially is the Most High, which means his place is always always above created things. So just to dumb it down for you, there can never be a time where God is under anything or where God is surrounded by anything. God is above all created things. There can never